Well, hello there, friends and family. Hey, so nice to see you again. It does appear that you're stopping by more often again. And I'm thinking that's a good thing, don't you? Well, here we are on Wednesday, November the 9th, 2022. And it's in such stark difference from yesterday and what we've seen in the latter weeks, where we were in the 80s, sometimes as high as 89, 85. And yesterday, it was 85. Yeah. Now, today, it's 71. And according to the long-range forecast, come Saturday and Sunday, we're going to be down in the 60s in the day. And, 33 and 37 at night. Yeah. November's finally come, hopefully. Because looking out across 10 days, it looks like low to mid 60s in the day. And then we're going to get in the low 40s to mid 40s at night. That's more like it. But it's such a beautiful day here this fall November day. Misty clouds, blue sky, a light breeze. Which means the air is shut down and the heat isn't started yet for this year. And I'm going to go as long as I can. Maybe you will too. But it's been so long since we took a walk along the property. Figured, hey, since you showed up, why don't we walk along? Chat a while and see what's still going on. And you could hear the birdies in the distance. And we're going to talk a little bit about birdies this time of year too. So come on, let's take a walk and see what we got during the fall. Well, as you can see that blue sky out there. The wispy, thin clouds. Things are looking good. First thing we're going to look at is the old fig bush. And she is wrapped up for the season. Done lost all of its leaves. I ate the last fig, which if I remember correctly, was right around here. It never got really big. Oh, about the size of a quarter. But oh, it was yummy. Oh, I lied to you. There's still a tiny one right there. So, if it can continue to plump on up, yeah, maybe we'll get one more. If we can beat the birds to it. And that's what I wanted to talk about too today. It's getting that time of year that we need to start thinking about the birdies. Now, it's not like the birds don't got food. Sorry for the air conditioner. But here on the sacred bamboo, you can see the berries are starting to ripen up. And the birds do eat these. Yes, they do. Now the hollies, their berries have yet to even start to ripen. And it's going to be a slim crop this year on holly berries. Don't know why. I think we had a bumper crop last year, as you saw. You can see we got plenty of little round red berries for the birdies. And that's something I want to talk about, feeding your birds. You know, like everything nowadays, there seems to be two sides. You can see the feeders are empty. Well, part of that is because I do stop feeding them so frequently during the summer and early fall. And I've done a lot of reading on the subject. You got a lot of naturalists and scientists and that say feeding the birds makes them dependent and takes them away from their natural food sources. And yeah, I can see that happening. Others say it's a good thing to do year-round. You know what I do is I know my land, my area, and I know when they got plenty of food to sustain them, and I know when that starts dwindling off. And that's this time of year. And before hard winter sets, we got to fatten up the little feathery friends. So these will start getting feeding, thrown back in them, starting tomorrow. And you can see, they've picked them clean. Nothing left. Well, except for the Niger seed. I guess I don't have enough of the type of birds, even though I do have finches that enjoy it. They eat a little bit, but not a lot. I keep it full though, because come winter, they'll eat more of it. Up here in the old bamboo forest, goldenrod's just about finishing up, as you can see. The leaves are starting to turn on the oaks, turning their brilliant shade of yellow. And you're seeing now, the old clothesline pole plant, tomato plants look pretty ragged. And I can see right here I've got some bird damage on that red ripe tomato, but that's okay. There's plenty more green ones. Yep. I don't think the frost is going to get them Saturday and Sunday. Not quite going to get cold enough, but we'll have to keep an eye on it. And after y'all leave, I'm going to have to get these red ripe ones off. I can see right down here, they got another one. So yep, definitely time to get those feeders filled back up. But they're leaving me a few. And as you can see, there's plenty. Lots of tomatoes. Even though the plants look pretty ragged. Amazingly though, and I thought these beans were totally finished, so I hadn't been paying much attention to them. Just letting the beans dry. Letting them dry so I can save them for seed. But as you can see, they snuck up on me and started producing more. Those are nice ones. Hard to believe. Looking as bad as they do, they still managed to put out a few more beans. So I'm going to sneak them off. And I think I'll do them in a little small stir fry. You know, maybe with some corn, carrots. Oh, little beef. Yeah, throw in some frozen broccoli, green pepper, onion. That'll be tasty. And there's more tomatoes down there. And this all proves what I already knew. You know, our summer was so hot, so dry. When the temperatures get above 85, tomatoes stop setting their blossoms. Fruit production declines. And if you watch my walkabouts, you'll know that's true. And for those of you who garden, you'll have observed that as well. But since we got out of the 90s, and we started being in the mid to high 80s, the tomatoes came back alive, as you've seen. My little cherry tomato over here, Chris sent me the seed. It was planted way late, and it's giving me some juicy cherry tomatoes. As you can see, there's still some left, and it's still trying to keep on producing, albeit not much. The bamboo forest, well, that's the citadel of safety for my feathered friends. They love it. And you'll remember the shishitsu pepper. It suffered through the drought as well. It stopped producing, but that was only because I'm letting the peppers dry on the plant. Oh, hello there, Spooky. How you doing? As always, my faithful companion. Yep, Spooky's here with me, checking out what we got left. But I'm gonna let them dry. I'll pick them off. They'll finish drying in the house. And then I'm gonna chop them up. Yeah, probably in the small food processor I got. And I'll use them for red pepper flakes throughout the winter. So good. Do with what you got. Peas, yeah, well, you know, back in September when I planted my sweet green peas, oh, the weather forecaster said temperatures were falling, going to be more mild, the rains were returning. Boy, were they wrong. Yeah, we had about a week of that in early September. Reminds me of 2019 when they said the same thing. And I started putting in cooler weather crops. September became hotter than August. October really didn't give us any relief. And I've seen that pattern repeat this year, just like in 2019. And as you know, peas, especially the sweet green, they prefer the cooler temperatures. So, they really never took off. Of course, the possum digging up most of them here in this planting didn't help them. But here again, I've noticed. Now, once again, since temperatures are falling, they're coming back. So I made a note in my garden journal, which I would recommend you keep. My memory's not what it used to be. Hey, Speedy. What? What's going on, Shakalaka? And next year, should they tell me, in September everything's getting cooler and the rains return, I won't be fooled. Of course, you know, with the weather people, it's the only profession where you can be wrong more than half the time and still keep your job. The okra's a hot season crop. It loves the heat, or so it used to. As I've showed you throughout the year, you know, by late morning, and the okra would be in the blazing sun, it would really wilt and droop, and I'd have to pour the water on it just to revive it. The one thing okra still don't like is cooler temperatures. And it's pretty much produced all it's going to do. So I've got me 3 seed pods mature there, and I'll let them continue to dry till they just start to split. I'll cut them off and bring them inside for next year's seed. I'd also planted some sweet peas down here in the bottom, and you can see them right here. They're starting to take off. So I think come Sunday, I'll hit them with some fertilizer. And we'll try. We won't have many sweet green peas this year. I might do some more planting. I'm undecided because I really love my sweet green peas. Maybe you do too, or maybe you're one of those that just can't stand them. And I'll see if I can get some. Growing sweet green peas in the South is a hard thing to do. Our springs never stay cool enough to get a crop out. I used to try every year. I mean, you went up to Pennsylvania, my grandparents, great-grandparents, ooh, they could grow a slew of sweet green peas. Can them and freeze them. And that was up in Bradford, Pennsylvania. Of course, that's way further north than where I am in the deep south. And if you followed us in our walkabouts, you'll know about my garlic chives in the pot. You know, had them for about 20 years. They're still going. And the peppers. If there was a highlight this year, it would be the peppers, as you all know. And they still are. Look at those jewels. And look back in here. Look at here. More coming along. More right there. Look at here. And then right there. Even Spooky's been impressed by it. And surprisingly, they're still forming blossoms and making more peppers. I mean, the end of these are just loaded with forming and smaller peppers. The same is true over here. But we still got a lot of stink bug pressure. I was out yesterday smashing stink bugs. The black cherry, still going. Look at that rack of cherry tomatoes right there. You see it? And these are quite tasty, I might add. And the pepper plant had the mosaic virus, and I kept it in the ground as an example to show you that it's futile. It never blossomed. It never had a pepper. And you can see the stunted growth. As you can see, the stunted growth in comparison to the others. There is no comparison. But the cherry, look at the new blossoms. They're still coming on. Still smaller cherry tomatoes developing on every end of the vines. Now, as you know, all of this has been extremely drought stressed. My harvest this year, now granted, I don't got a whole lot planted, but I kept it alive through a very dry spring, extremely dry summer. I mean, we had 2 weeks there that the rains returned and they were like a monsoon. That didn't last long. I've got some green onions here. I'm starting to replant my onion bed. And they're looking a little sad. You know, as Spooky will attest. Spooky, what are you being a camera hog for? Get out of the way. Yep. Look a little ragged, don't they? Well, that's not drought stress. I actually bought these out of the reduced carton. They were looking a little stressed when I got them. But this is what I'm going to tell you. You can replant them. And here in a few weeks, they'll be looking a whole lot better. Trust the old man on that. There's more peppers right there. More in there. Look at this one. In comparison to my hand. Well, I can't give these peppers enough praise. You know, if I had a greenhouse and they were in it, I'm sure I could grow them out all throughout the winter. That's another thing this far south. You put a greenhouse in, well, for the majority of the year, it's just going to be a sauna. Not much good. Unless you're raising oranges and lemons, you know, avocados, stuff of that nature. Which takes quite some time. Plus, greenhouses are expensive. You know, tire planters, even though they've required watering twice a day, things are starting to look pretty nice. These cabbages continue to grow vigorously. Where on the other hand, the Swiss chard, not so much. But I do know this. The Swiss chard is more of a cooler season crop. You can grow it in the south. You can keep it alive. Now, whether it'll thrive and be like I see it, you know, with my more northern friends and family, we'll see. But the cabbage, they're looking fine. And I've even plucked a few leaves off and give them a quick saute with some onions, salt and pepper, you know, just a touch of garlic powder. Yeah. Do a couple of eggs scrambled up. One fine breakfast. You know, you got to eat your greens. Well, the kale, which is also a cool season green, or, you know, cooler region green. I mean, like up in Alaska, they can all grow it all throughout their season, albeit their season isn't very long. But there's one thing about kale. In our winters, it should survive all the way through the winter. It has before. We'll see how this winter goes. They say it's supposed to be above average in temperature. Here again, it's out there. You can be wrong more than 50% of the time. Still keep your job. I'm hoping it's warmer than average to keep down that electric bill and that natural gas bill. This other cabbage here, I mean, they're just starting to form heads. You see that right there? Yeah. And I do love my cabbage. For whatever reason, I planted 2 tomato plants here, and they never took off. And I'll tell you why. They were planted in September, and the sun being lower in the sky, this fence right here, unbeknownst to me, until I observed it after I planted, keeps those little tomato plants. There's actually 2. Of course, you can see evidence there of the possum looking for grubs. One's gone, and this one, it's been growing, but extremely slow. Well, I give it a drink just to encourage it and thank it for trying to live. Mr. Gray, what you doing, buddy? You gonna talk to the people? Mr. Gray, you gonna talk? Huh? You said something when you walked up. You have an opinion about the tomato plant? Nope, you just want to lay by Papa's feet. Well, I still got some things to show the folks. You gonna come along? Yeah, I think he's gonna eat some grass. He'll probably tag along. pecan trees, well, here again, because of the drought, they started dropping immature pecans early. And, you know, unlike years past where you saw me pick them up for weeks, it doesn't look like that's going to be a thing this year. Not a thing at all. I haven't seen one that was worth keeping. Nope. I'm thinking pretty much, even up with the commercial growers, unless they irrigated, that's going to be the state of the pecan crop for southern Alabama. Well, it's not like it ain't happened before. There's one of my banana spider buddies. Since the leaves have started falling, I ain't drove this truck. I need to take it out on the road and blow the leaves off. Think I will. The Focus, of course, is still no go. Yep, I'm thinking about buying a transmission module, control module. See, and I can put that in. It's a hassle, but I can do it. The only thing I can't do is program it. So I'm going to talk to my Ford dealer, because that's the only people who can do it. See how much they'll charge if I install transmission control module for them to reprogram it. And they might do it for free based on the settlement and the recall. I'll make that call next week. Over here in the south side driveway garden bed, yeah, it's winding down, but here again the beans have amazed me. Cooler temperatures, they've produced a few beans, but you can see they're awful scraggly, as is this here celebrity tomato plant. She's looking awful naked, but I think you can see all the green tomatoes. We got a few starting to ripen up there. I think I'll get them off this evening or maybe in the morning at the latest. Bring them in the house to let them continue to ripen. And it's even still blossoming. Got smaller ones forming. And it's November the 9th. Imagine that. Even these beans over here, which, you know, when I wasn't feeling quite up to myself, sort of didn't pay attention to them, and I thought they were dead. But if you look up there, you'll see a couple of nice ones way up high there on the right of that pole. And down here, it's got a couple of nice ones too. Like I say, between all of them, I can bring them in, give them a good chop, stir fry them up, and it'll be like the last bean treat of the gardening season. And here again, my sweet peas I planted over here. Of course, I never even put anything up for these to climb on right here, because they were looking so sad, and I didn't think they'd make it, even though I kept them watered. If they start to look like they're going to do something, I can always throw up some string to help them on their way to the heavens. And maybe I'll get a few green peas, you know, maybe enough for a treat. I mean, if you haven't ever eaten sweet green peas straight out of the garden, if you ever do, you'll wonder how you ever ate those frozen and canned ones. Now this little plant has looked a little better. You know, it wouldn't want to climb up my trellis. Now it's grabbing the hold and they're taking off. The collards are finally, you know, the collards are a cool weather crop too. And these have struggled through that heat, the drought. Now, with cooler nights, me keeping them watered, you can see the ground is nice and moist. And that ain't because of rain. That's because the little old man comes out every day. You know, when you're gardening, even when you're feeling really poor, yeah, it's just like keeping animals. Somehow you got to find the energy and get out and get her done. But they're starting to perk up. I mean, I almost lost this one. It was nothing but the center. Now, it's starting to come back. So we'll give her a shot, a good old water-soluble fertilizer, come Sunday. The banana pepper, it's got a blossom or two on it. It's got peppers continuing to grow. See, look up here. See, those are nice ones. There's another one back there. Now it looks ragged. You know, it fought the army worms. Almost lost, because it looked a lot more ragged. You can see a lot of new growth coming out at the ends. And the lunchbox pepper, she is loaded up. More blossoms. Look at here. See the new blossoms? See all the little peppers? Look under there. Look at that shot. Well, that's a pepper shot right there. Look at that. And these are so tasty. They're only a bite or two. That's what they're meant to be. But they have a unique sweet taste. Nothing like a bell pepper. If you get a chance next year, maybe you'll plant or two. Oh, and cut up into a salad. Woo! I know for people who don't like bell pepper, I think you'll like these. And like I say, the collards, they're continuing to come alive. I've been eating these here. Oh, little lunch box. My favorite way. Just pop one off. See, that one's only a bite. And that's what I'm going to do. Mmm. So good. Now I'm going to save one of the ripe ones and save the seed for the coming garden season. My little patch of turnip greens, it too suffered in the heat, but it's been perking up. Wish I would have planted more, and I may plant more now that I seem to be a little more chipper. Ooh, that hit the spot. Hey, is that you, Cleo? Cleo, you're the only one that's still got your collar. All the rest took theirs off. Right, Speedy? Right, Spooky? Started with Mr. Gray. Well, it's hard to keep collaring Mr. Gray. Then Speedy lost hers. Spooky lost his just a couple of days ago. I'm surprised at you, Spooky. I thought you were Papa's boy. Huh. Well, it's that time of year. The flea pressure goes down. So, won't need to worry about it again till the coming spring. I bought a pile of them from Amazon, so it's not like I don't got some on standby. The hollies, like I said, They got a few berries on them. Nothing like they had last year. These things had billions of them on them. And I didn't check, maybe, you know, it's like the oak trees. You might not know this. Some species of oaks, they don't put on acorns every year. It's every other year. Maybe this particular type of holly is of the same mind. It's got a few, but not a lot. And the acorns now have been dropping. They started dropping early too because of the drought. But now they're in full swing. And even though my acorns on these oaks are small, about the size of a dime, if you're walking under when one comes down out of the top, it'll sting you on the noggin. Just saying. Or it'll leave a welt on your upper shoulders, arms, or wherever. But that's why you got to start the feeders, to feed your furry friends. Not only because of the time of year, because food sources, some years are better than others. You can see some of the berries right here. But you didn't have to hunt for them last year. Like I said, there was billions of them, and you saw it. And it could have been from the drought too. They've been drought stressed because I haven't watered them. And I have noticed they didn't grow near as much. And I need to trim these all way back. And don't worry, they'll look naked when I'm done. I've done it before. And they always come back. These were supposed to be dwarf Buford holly. Grows to a maximum height of 4 feet. Of course, the ones over by the carport, no, those must be 15 feet high. These were a lot higher. I cut them back, what, last year? But these are probably up around 10 at their highest. And they're formidable. They get those little spikes at the ends of the leaves. And when they get more mature, yeah, they're like cat claws. They'll pierce the skin. So if you ever want to have a deterrent around your windows, you know, passive security measures are a good thing. Big thorny rose bushes, yeah, holly. That'll make a thief think at least once, is it worth the effort? I'm just saying. And you can see the blueberries. Their leaves are dropping. Once they get naked, I'm going to do some bed cleanup and everything. I've got to do some pruning this year. And in all honesty, I've never pruned them. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of learning and see just how and what I'll do. I don't want to make a mistake, as you've seen these things all the time I've been doing videos, back again since 2018. They have been amazingly productive. And I always have more blueberries than I could ever possibly eat. And the birds, well, certain species of birds, the only ones I ever see sharing them with me are the blue jays and the mockingbirds. You know, the big boys. But here again, talking about the birds, something I have not seen a lot of that I've seen in the past, and maybe because of the heat and drought, they're a little later in coming, and that's the huge, massive flocks of greckles, which most people call blackbird. Well, some mistakenly call them crows. They're a smaller species of blackbird. Normally in the fall, oh, they'll come. They're so noisy. They're little literally be thousands in the trees. And then you can clap your hands or something and they'll swirl in the sky and block the sun. If they come, I'll try to catch them on video. It's an amazing sight. But so far, they're absent this year. Well, the breeze is picking up. The sun's setting lower. There's a chill in the air, because tomorrow's high is supposed to be 60. Amazing, in 2 days, we're going to drop 25 degrees. That's the way our climate is these days. All in stark contrast from day to day and season to season. So, I got my Spooky here. That's my Cleo right there. Yeah, it's easy to tell now, Cleo. You still got your collar on. You looking fine, girl. You looking good. That's my big boy, Spooky. And as you can see, there's some more of the ripening berries on the sacred bamboo. So at least my feather friends are going to have something to eat. Of course, I'll make sure, because more bird seed is coming, albeit it's pricey. You know, I was looking at that, and I look back what I paid in 2021. Paid $19.19 for a 20-pound bag of Eastern Regional Blend. And then the next bag was in early 2022, and it had risen to $20.80. I think that was about an 8%, a little over 8% increase. Then I ordered another bag in July, which I still got part of, not much. And it was up $24.98, and that's where it's at. So you might as well say, nearly $6 increase since 2021. Or 25% increase. There's my birdies. And look at Speedy. She's a bird hunter. That's for sure. So there you have it, friends and family. That's pretty much the state of my world. I'm out upon the property. The leaves are continuing to fall. The air is getting crisp. The winter winds are blowing in right now from the northwest. Let me know how things are wherever you are in this big wide world. You know, what's the temperatures? If you're gardening, which you still got going on, I'm always interested in knowing. So until the kitty crew, Spooky, Speedy, Cleo, good old gentle Mr. Gray, and of course Gracie and Lily Bit too. See you on that next video. Y'all take care. Stay safe out there. Stay warm the best you can. And may God bless you as you bless others in your life. Goodbye for now. I know what you guys are waiting for, but it ain't quite food time. Okay, Spooky? It don't look like you're underfed. So, time to head her on in. Drop this here video in the computer and get to editing. Hey, maybe I can get it out tonight for our friends and family's viewing pleasure. Later, all.